Hello, this video will walk you through the process of filling out a timesheet. During the year, you will attend your site daily as instructed by your site supervisor. These records will then be submitted as a timesheet through OnCorps to your supervisor every 2 weeks. Most importantly, they must be submitted with at least some hours and approved by the deadline in order for you to receive your living allowance. You can find these submission deadlines on the Living Allowance and Timesheet Schedule on page 119 of your AmeriCorps Program Manual. As such, it is important that you keep track of your timesheet deadlines and submit your timesheets on time. All of your service hours will fall into 4 different categories to be recorded in OnCorps. Those 4 categories are training, service at site, supplemental service at site, and civic engagement. In order for you to complete your timesheet, you'll need to open a web browser and go to mn.oncorreports.com. On the right, you're going to see a drop-down menu above the Submit button. Make sure that the correct program year is selected and then go ahead and click on Submit. You'll then be directed to a page that shows most of the AmeriCorps programs in the state of Minnesota. Find your program and click on AmeriCorps Member. For the purposes of this demonstration, we'll use the Minnesota Opportunity Corps as an example. So I'm going to find Minnesota Opportunity Corps and click on AmeriCorps Member. If you don't remember your login information, you'll be able to find it in an email about info pages that you receive from your program manager at the beginning of the service year. Once you have your login information, you can enter it in on the right-hand side. Log in, and then you'll be directed to the home screen of the OnCorps Reports module. If you have any problems with your login information, please remember to check that you've selected the correct program year and that you have the correct login information. And if all of those things are correct and you're still having problems logging in, you can contact your program specialist for further assistance. So now that we're in, you'll need to go to the Time Tracking tab at the top of the page and click on Enter Timesheets. There's another drop-down box when you get to this page that allows for you to select the correct timesheet pay period. So for this demonstration, we'll use the 2-week pay period of 9/3 through 9/16 of 2017. So once I've selected that correct period, I'll go ahead and click on Choose. So the due date is always going to be shown at the top of your timesheet. Some of you might have the option of selecting which supervisor you submit your timesheet to. So you usually should select the checkbox that's for your primary site supervisor unless you have let your program manager or program specialist know ahead of time that that site supervisor won't be able to approve it by the deadline. And then kind of secondary site supervisor will be available for you to select. If you are unsure about who you should submit your timesheet to, make sure to ask your program specialist. Each day on the timesheet has its own row, and you're going to see a lot of these different categories at the top of the timesheet. So be sure to put the information in the correct column, the correct timesheet category and row. All of the civic engagement hours and any training hours that are not sponsored by Recovery or Opportunity Corps require a pre-approved service opportunity request form in OnCorps. So this form must be submitted and approved before the hours are served. These hours also must have extra documentation on your timesheet. For these hours, you must include the date those hours were served, the organization where you served them, the supervisor's name for that service, and the supervisor's contact information in the additional comments description box, which is located all the way down at the very bottom of the timesheet. So these details should match the details that you provided on the corresponding service opportunity request form. So let's pretend like you volunteered on Monday, September 4th at Second Harvest Heartland for 3 hours. Your supervisor for that service at Second Harvest Heartland was Betty Boop. You should enter the following information into the comments description box. So you would write 9/4/17. Your supervisor, or the location of the service is Second Harvest Heartland. Your supervisor is Betty Boop, and we'll pretend like this is her phone number. That's all you need to include. And this information, again, should correspond with what you entered into your service opportunity request form. So back to filling out your kind of regular daily service hours. Again, you are going to want to make sure to record the correct information into the correct row and column for each day of your timesheet. So on Tuesday, September 5th, you'll have spent 8 hours in training. So we made sure to put 8 hours into the training category. You can notate that further by putting the category, and you can put Opportunity Corps Institute for that training. That helps your site supervisor remember a little bit about all the different things that you're spending your time on if you include some basic notes in these description boxes. Hours should be rounded to the nearest quarter hour. So let's say that, on Monday, September 11th, you provided service at the site for 8.5 hours, you would put 8.5. If it was 8.25 hours, you could put 8.25. So always round to that nearest quarter hour. And after you've filled everything out, you should make sure that your timesheet is as accurate as possible. In order to do this and ensure accuracy, we do recommend that you fill out your hours for the day every day or two throughout the pay period. You should not be entering hours on your timesheet until you've served those hours. At the end of a pay period, which means after 4 p.m. on the last service day of the timesheet, you can submit your timesheet for approval. Before you submit, and if you're just entering hours in every day, you can always click Save and come back to edit the timesheet. But when you're ready to submit, you'll click on the button at the bottom here that says Authorize and Submit. It'll give you a little pop-up that says, do you really want to submit this timesheet? So ensure that it's accurate and click OK. And then always be sure to log out of OnCorps when you're done using it for the day so that your information is secure. That's it. But if you do have questions or concerns throughout the year, don't hesitate to contact your program specialist.